Picture this. You're bleeding out on the side of a broken road. Your only movement option is slowly crawling on the ground. You're carrying on your back some of the most devastating items in the whole game and you don't want to lose them. In the distance you can see a ventilation shaft that you can use as an escape route. But going there requires going through the trenches of an active war zone. Any player can one-tap you and take away all of the items you're carrying in seconds of spotting you. You only have one goal: survive. Ark Raiders is at the moment the hottest online game out there, and that's for some really good reasons. The game is set in a futuristic post-apocalyptic north side of Italy, ruled over by machines called Ark. And the humanity is forced to use whatever scrap the previous generation left behind to fight back. Computers are using CRTs once again. Guns are literally welded out of random pipes, and all of the outfits found in the game are random pieces of clothing put together. The underground society of Speranza is using volunteers to bring scrap from the top side, who do risk their lives with every expedition. These volunteers are called raiders. All of the Ark entities are using some absolutely crazy physics technology, creating a really interesting experience. The drones are weak as shit to having their propellers destroyed, as this causes them to spin out of control. Larger Ark use mechanical legs to move around, and destroying their joints causes them to limp around. The first thing you probably heard about this game is extraction shooter. Get to a place, grab loot, fight, and try to leave in one piece. If you die, you lose your entire inventory. You have a base that you can upgrade and quests to be working towards. However, Ark is a lot more nuanced than that. Shooting at these machines reminds me more of playing a survival horror game. You're going through apartments, grabbing plants that you can craft into healing items. You open doors with keys or specific tools. Each encounter with an Ark machine forces you to make a choice. How can I fight this enemy effectively? Is it even worth the hassle? If not, then do I just turn back, or do I try to go around it? The survival horror comparison makes even more sense once you take into consideration how fucking good the music is in this game. With the calm before the storm Saferoom music, and also tracks that are gonna keep your ass cheeks tensed up. What differs Ark Raiders from a classic survival horror game is its main attraction, the online component. You see, humans were the real monsters all along. Other players that you meet have the exact same goal as you: get the coolest loot. Some of the people are gonna be chill, some are gonna try to snipe you from the other end of the map. You might get an opportunity to jump a team of snipers, and as a reward get shot at by a different team of snipers. Or get jumped by a team while looting some shelves. Okay, fuck me, I guess. This forces you to check corners even more closely, to listen for every out of place sound effect. If you are defeated in battle, you're put into this bleeding state. Your health drains bit by bit with every second. You can crawl around, but this speeds up the bleeding. You cannot heal yourself from this state, but you can be revived by other players with a defib. If you do get downed, but don't want the enemy to grab your stuff, sometimes you can crawl away and just hide from them. It's really funny. This brings us to one of the best stories I have to tell from this game, and for sure a great reason to get into Arc Raiders if you haven't already. I was bleeding out here on the map Blue Gate, near this ruined fortress. A player sneaked up on me while I was looting. I managed to crawl away so far from the castle without dying thanks to the augmentation I was wearing. This funny looking pyramid lets me regenerate a set amount of HP when staying in place while downed. I was still losing health when moving around, but it's better than nothing. I technically could crawl to an extraction point, in this case a ventilation shaft. However, in this game every couple of minutes a randomly chosen extract point deactivates. Normally you can see the time left on each of them on the map. However, when you're bleeding out you cannot access the map. I technically have an infinite amount of crawling distance left, but a clock is constantly ticking. If I don't make it, I'm dead either way. I didn't wanna die here as I had some really good items on me. First, a deadline, the most powerful explosive in the game, capable of one-shotting whole bosses, as well as an anvil, a pretty good magnum with the rarest attachment in the game, which multiplies its damage at the slight cost of accuracy. I didn't wanna lose these items. It's important to note that arc machines don't see you as a threat in this bleeding state, meaning they won't attack you. However, a player has every right to see you as free loot. After a while, a player showed up. He was seemingly friendly and wanted to help me, but he could not see my funny yellow helmet. Another player appeared on the horizon and this quickly turned into a bloodbath. After that I only kept on hearing shots of them duking it out in those trenches. Unfortunately, these shots kept on coming from the extraction point, meaning I had to get closer to them to get a chance of making it back home. I didn't have the time to wait them out, so I jumped down to those trenches. Crawling through these I heard more and more shots, until I saw yellow fireworks. This is a sign of a player calling for a supply drop. This meant that someone was nearby and... a player. Was this the end? He was actually pretty chill, but he didn't have a defib. Can you tell me how much time is left on the extract right here?
15.
15 minutes left on the extract. However, the round itself also ends in 15 minutes. That means that I got both lucky and unlucky. Lucky because I got a lot of time to make it into that ventilation shaft. Unlucky because it will be the last extraction point on the whole map. The last possible extraction point usually has campers and rats trying to get one last drop of loot. And I am quite literally one-tapped. Going there is quite literally my only way of escaping. Another guy comes up and he's also chill. He also doesn't have a defib. Despite the fact that both of them were carrying weak weapons and were low on resources, they decided to escort me to the extract.
We now have a mission to get you safely to the elevator.
Both of them at any point could have just agreed on splitting the loot from me between them, but they didn't. 10 minutes were left on the clock, so this last extract point was supposed to start turning into a PvP zone. But the threat turned out to be different. Instead of players, Ark showed up. Wasps, hornets, but most importantly, a rocketeer. A powerful mini-boss that can exploit a single mistake to end your run.
Anybody got a defib?
Although none of them can target me, I can still take damage from misfire. And I cannot survive that. Arc spot one of my new friends and one last standoff begins. The extraction elevator is cold. I cannot help them fight traditionally, but I can give them information about the positions of Arc. Hatch doors are already opening, but I cannot crawl to them fast enough, so my new friends keep on fighting until I make it. One of them runs out of ammo, the other dude is defending himself, while our first hero fights off drones with his pickaxe. Finally, after 17 minutes of slowly crawling through the map, while constantly bleeding out, I reach the ventilation shaft. Ark Raiders is a genre-blending online game unlike anything else. Thanks to the online aspect, these runs are vessels for one-of-a-kind stories like this. I already sank a bunch of hours into this game and I'm not planning on stopping anytime soon, especially since every month we're getting new features, new enemies and new maps. Try it out if you haven't already. Maybe you will even get an opportunity to jump me and kill me for the fun of it. Good luck, Raiders.